My wife, 35 female of 10 years, left me, 36 male, after I discovered I had a son from a previous relationship. She wants to move with our kids. I have been unable to sleep and really struggling. I feel emotionally drained. My wife, Amy, 35 female, left me, 36 male, after I was contacted by an ex and discovered I had a son. I tried to post his age, but my post gets removed, so I just want to clear up that he was born 3 years before I married my wife, and there was absolutely no overlap or cheating in my wife and I's relationship. This happened a month ago, and I requested a paternity test. Amy didn't say much while we waited for results, but agreed that if I was the father, I needed to be in my son's life in every way possible. 2 weeks ago, the results came back that I am the father, and immediately Amy said she wanted a divorce and began packing her and our children's belongings. I was confused and asked her why, but she just cried and said she loved me. Amy and I have been married for 10 years. Okay, so that means the son is 13 years old. Our marriage has been pretty damn close to perfect. No serious arguments, same goals. We've traveled the world together. We have a beautiful home, rewarding careers, and fantastic children together. I'm so heartbroken that she's thrown everything away. I feel like my life has been destroyed. I have no clue what to do. I have begged and pleaded for therapy, and my wife refuses. She has started the divorce process. The next issue is custody of our children in terms of divorce. All 4 of our children are young, not even in school yet. She says if I agree to give her primary custody, she will let me have the house and will not want child support, and will give me all of our savings so I can raise my son as his mother is struggling. She also agreed to pay for some home help for me. I am disabled and need some help occasionally during flare-ups, which she usually provides. I told her I could afford it on my own, but she insists as she says she wants to help out since she won't be there. She will move across the country with our 2 children, but said she will bring them for at least 2 weeks every 2 months so I can have a relationship with them and will pay for me to fly out to see them whenever I want. I don't know what to do. I have no family to discuss this with because 2 of mine and Amy's children are adopted. And my parents and extended family think my biological son is more important than them, which is obviously untrue. It makes me feel horrible, but I don't even know my son. It feels like I'm losing everything for a person I don't know. And I know he's a child and I shouldn't feel that way. But all I ever wanted was my wife and kids. And while I love my son and take care of him, I don't feel like he is my kid yet just because I haven't really had time to get to know him. A month ago, I wouldn't have recognized him if I saw him on the street. I feel so much guilt for feeling this way. Amy and I are fairly well off, but she is more so than me. She offered to hire me a lawyer of my choosing if I don't agree with her terms. I told her again I could afford it, but she says she just wants to make sure I get a fair deal. But I just can't. I don't want to divorce or lose my children. I love my wife and children more than anything. I just don't understand her motives or why she is doing this. It feels like I have to pick my son or my wife and our shared kids. I keep trying to make sense of it in my mind. She will not tell me any reason for wanting to get divorced. She's even being incredibly nice to my son. His birthday had recently passed and she got him a new game system. They haven't met. She said it was from myself and his siblings. She even told me what her nephew, who is the same age as my son, is into so that I can get things my son might like. I don't even know what advice I'm looking for. It feels like my life has been completely ruined. I'm in therapy, but it doesn't seem to help. A month ago, my wife and I were planning or trying for another baby and picking our next vacation spot, and now I'm going to be divorced? How do I move on? How do I not unfairly resent my son when I know it's not his fault? I keep hoping there's a way to convince her to stay, but I don't even know what the problem really is. I'm hoping someone else has been through learning they have a child after 10 plus years and know where to start or what I can do to either move on or convince my wife that this doesn't have to happen. Any advice at all is appreciated though.
Would I be wrong if I said I had a problem with my fiancé adding a ring enhancer to the engagement ring that I just gave her? For some added context, here's a picture of the ring enhancer that her mom gave her, and honestly, I'm not sure how I should feel. So last week, I celebrated my 2-year anniversary with my girlfriend and really went all out to make it an amazing weekend. At the very end, I ended with a surprise proposal and got her a beautiful ring. Simple classic style with smaller diamonds running down on the face of the band with a 1-carat diamond sitting on top. It also came with a set with the matching wedding band that really made the whole thing look amazing. And I basically worked 2 full-time jobs to be able to save up and buy this for her along with the rest of the weekend plans. Anyways, the proposal went great and she was completely surprised. I even had a photographer lined up to capture the moment. She and everybody loved the ring, but it was a tad big, so we planned to get it resized. Fast forward to today when she texted me at her mom's house saying we might not have to get it resized. Would I be wrong if I said I had a problem with my fiancé adding a ring enhancer to the engagement ring I just gave her? She tells me we might not have to get the ring resized because her mom gave her a nice ring holder to keep it in place and sends me a picture of this ring guard. I will admit it's very nice, but it almost swallows up her whole ring finger and completely changes the appearance of the ring I gave her. Here's a picture. So I told her I don't think it's gonna work after we add the wedding band. She replied she can split further apart to make the space and told me if I don't like it, she doesn't have to wear it, but in the same text she said she loves it. Anne mentions this ring holder her mom is giving her is $3,000. Not that monetary value is what matters, but I just spent shy of 10 grand on her engagement ring set, so I'm a little offended. I just don't like the fact that the wedding and engagement ring is meant to be for me and she wants to add more to it from someone else, even if it's her mom. And again, to me the enhancer is so big, it swallows the ring itself. Am I wrong for telling my son that his pregnant ex is going to live with us no matter what he says and giving his college fund to her? I, 44 female, am a single mom to my son and he's 18. I work full-time and have a decent amount of money. I also have some savings set aside from what my late husband left us. I've been building a college fund for my son for the past couple of years and he knows this. He was fully expecting to receive it when he graduates this year. Well, over the past couple of years, he's dated several girls for a few weeks to months at a time. They all seemed nice enough and he was having a good time, so I didn't mind, as long as he was careful. But about 3 months ago, he brought home his latest girlfriend, Lisa, 17, and we really formed a connection. She doesn't have a great home life and started seeing me as a trusted adult in her life. Well, yesterday she called me in tears. She was almost hysterical, so I told her, please come over right away, it's gonna be okay. That's when she asked if my son was home, and I told her he wasn't. Am I wrong for telling my son that his pregnant ex is going to live with us no matter what he says and giving his college fund to her? She came over telling me she was pregnant and her parents were kicking her out of the house. So I told her she could stay with us and would always be welcome here. That's when she said she wasn't sure about that. So I asked why, and she said my son broke up with her because she was pregnant. I was furious with him. He was out with his friends, but I called him repeatedly until he answered. I told him I can't believe I have raised such a selfish person who can't even be bothered to support the girl he claimed to love and his own child. I said even if he doesn't want to take responsibility, Lisa and her baby are going to be part of our family and she's gonna live with us. I also said I'm gonna give his college fund to her to help her start a life for herself and the baby. He was shocked and said I should be in his corner because I'm his mom. I said, F that, you don't deserve to have someone in your corner right now, then hung up on him. That's when he came home late at night and went straight to his room.
Am I in the wrong for calling my wife mental after she kicked everyone out of the house? I married my wife a year ago and moved into her home. She owned it outright long before she met me. I have 2 kids, 7 male and 11 female. She has none biologically. My wife suffers from ADHD and mild OCD, which myself and my kids have adjusted to the best we can. For the most part, everything is great, though she does have moments of ADHD rage when people stand in her way, interrupt her when she's hyper-focusing on something, or ask a million questions at once. She can't stand having more than one conversation going at one time and has basically started ignoring me and the kids if we all start talking at once because she says she shouldn't have to repeat herself continuously and tell us to speak one at a time, and since we refuse to listen, she refuses to engage. She's never mean about it, but it's definitely an adjustment for me and the kids. She works at a financial firm and I work as a school football coach and trip advisor. We both had the weekend off last weekend, so I suggested that we plan a big barbecue pool party for the family because we aren't able to do much with our families combined. She was on the fence about the idea as too many people in her space bothers her, and with her OCD, she didn't think she would be able to handle it. But ultimately, she decided that she would give it a chance, and we went ahead with planning. But it quickly turned to shit. The kids, mine plus family, kept running inside soaking wet. Stones in the garden that had been placed meticulously by my wife were being moved. Too many people were talking to my wife and demanding her attention. And the final straw, my brother decided to fuck with my wife and purposely move the steps over by 1.5 feet, making it uneven. She snapped and told everyone to get the fuck out of her house. In her defense, she did ask people to stop multiple times, but essentially there were too many people to relay the message to, so people kept repeating the same mistakes over and over. Everyone did leave, but I was so embarrassed that I called her mental and an embarrassment. She won't speak to me at all and hasn't since that day, which was Saturday. So am I in the wrong?
My boyfriend won't stop calling me Tony Pizza. I, female 21, and my boyfriend, male 21, currently live together and have been together about 4 months. To explain why we are living together at the 4-month mark, we started out as roommates but then started dating. I have to say, my boyfriend has never been good at pet names. Some early ones were Little Stubster and Sour Meat. One of my nicknames for him, in comparison, is Little Bird. Anyways, about 2 weeks ago, he started calling me Tony Pizza. This doesn't even make sense, and he uses it more often than my actual name. He is obsessed. It honestly bothers me that he can't even bother to find a somewhat nice nickname for me. I have had a couple of conversations with him about it, but he says he just can't think of anything better. What do I do? Is this going to become a bigger problem, or should I even address it? I hate being Tony Pizza. My male 21, girlfriend, female 19, and I have been together for 2 years. When we started dating, she was a gym rat. We constantly worked out together to keep ourselves in good shape. My girlfriend also had a son when she was 15 from another guy who never bothered to be around for her or the baby. She had to lose a lot for her baby. She was kicked out and worked 2 part-time jobs on top of school to pay for herself and the baby. However, he was diagnosed with leukemia a few months into the relationship and passed away 5 months ago after chemo failed. This hit my girlfriend hard. She got in contact with her parents, who offered for her to move back in and not work so that she could deal with her grief. Instead, she moved in with me, and I currently support her financially. Since his passing, she's gained over 65 pounds and is no longer in the shape that she was when we first started dating. She has gotten back to normal in some aspects, such as being able to enjoy doing things, and has been more sexual again. Well, recently, I went to a party and ended up cheating on her. Oh my God. It was nothing past sexual, and it was just because of how much her body reminded me of my old girlfriend. Turned out, a few of her friends were at the party and ended up taking pictures of us making out and then leaving together. So when I came home the next morning, my girlfriend was obviously pissed. She was yelling and crying to me about how she trusted me and how she couldn't handle this after losing her baby. I didn't really think much of it. She's been erratic in her emotions since the loss, so I was letting her take her time to process it. She just wouldn't stop, though. It was over a half hour before I snapped back and said, quote, "If you didn't get so big, then I wouldn't have to." I immediately apologized and tried to explain that I didn't mean it that way. She didn't listen and locked herself in the bedroom for the rest of the day. She wouldn't even let me in when it was time for bed, so I slept on the couch. The next day, we talked it out and we decided to try to deal with this going forward. However, she hasn't been the same. She refuses to have sex with me, and the one time that we did, she made the lights be off and didn't let me touch her. She hasn't been cooking meals and has only been getting food for me. She has canceled all dinner plans that I've made with our friends or told me to go alone. She hasn't been wearing the bright outfits that she usually wears and only wears black sweatpants with a sweatshirt. She doesn't let me cuddle her anymore, and she keeps a pillow in between us as she needs it to, quote, align her back at night, even though she faces the other way. We used to shower every morning together, and she hasn't done that either. She's been showering when I'm at work or locks both the bedroom and bathroom door. She barely talks to me or even looks at me. I've tried holding her hand, and she pulled it away. Everything that I try to do with her, she just ignores me. I'm just so done with her acting so distant and cold to me. I want to be able to go back to the relationship we had before she lost her son, or even before she started acting distant to me. My one friend has 2 kids of her own and said that I am at fault for doing that less than 6 months after she lost her baby. She also went off on me about how I should have never commented on her weight, and that a lot of people would turn to food as a comfort. My girlfriend was diagnosed with binge eating disorder when she was 13. She went to treatment, and that's when she became a health nut, and said that I will never understand how she currently feels. But we both agreed that we wanted to have more kids. This conversation took place after he passed, so I feel like that should have given her some closure towards his death. I feel like if she's acting this way, then our relationship isn't going to last much longer. I know that her dad told her recently that she is still welcome to move back home and even offered to pay for her grief counseling that she goes to 3 times a week. I don't know how long I can put up with her having this much attitude. I'm worried that I'm going to make the same mistake if she doesn't take care of my needs soon. I just need to get her back to who she was before. What can I do to help her get over this? Is there anything I can say to make this better? Am I the asshole for canceling dinner and going home over something my boyfriend's dog did? Hi. I'll preface this by saying that I, 25 female, have been seeing Michael, 31 male, for a while now. He's a really funny, a bit too sarcastic though, guy, and we pretty much get along well. We've been dating for 4 months. Michael likes the food I cook, and he wanted me to come to his house and cook him dinner, and also meet his dog for the first time. I only saw him in pictures/videos. He's overprotective of him. I grabbed all I needed from the store and went over to his house. All went well. I met his dog, then we sat down to talk. Suddenly, his dog started moving in a funny way. Michael was laughing while looking at me. I felt confused. I asked him what the dog was doing, and Michael said that the dog was telling him about me. I was like, okay. And then he flat out said that the dog thought I was ugly. This shocked me completely. I looked at Michael and asked if he was serious. He started explaining that this dog is like that with some people, and that I shouldn't get offended over an animal's behavior. I felt horrible because I, as a person who has always struggled with self-esteem and am no stranger to the word ugly, my issue wasn't the dog, but with what Michael said. It's like he was indirectly giving his opinion about my looks and using his dog as an excuse. Long story short, we had an argument, and I ended up canceling dinner and going home. Michael called several times. Then when I picked up, he was lashing out the entire time, saying that I overreacted and that I cannot blame him and punish him for something his dog did. He advised me to get rid of the, quote, toxic sensitivity I have and deal with whatever insecurity I have as soon as possible, because what happened will set the tone for our relationship and eventually our marriage later. I did respond later, which caused another argument. My sister said I messed things up with my stupidity and that I should have laughed it off, but for some reason, I wasn't able to. Did I overreact here? My boyfriend jerks off to videos/photos of his dead wife. I'm feeling mixed feelings. As the title suggests, I, 35 female, have been dating a widower, 52 male. We are serious, bought a house together, mesh well, and are sexually adventurous, the entire thing. Like I mentioned, he is 52, and he tends to like a particular kind of porn of a certain generation. Huge fake boobs and stretchy, shiny outfits that stay on throughout the video. You get the gist. His now deceased wife fits these criteria closely, and I know he uses their old sex tapes from time to time, and I can't help feeling oddly creeped out by it/insecure. But I also feel like I don't have any right to be upset. Had this been an ex, I feel the porn gets deleted when the relationship does, unless someone consents to you keeping it. But this is his dead wife, whom he loved dearly and had sex and intimacy with for nearly 20 years. For context, she died 14 months ago from a rare aggressive cancer that went from diagnosis to death in 5 months. Her last wish was that he let someone in again, as he is a strong, stoic loner. She is still the screensaver on his phone. His WhatsApp photo is still one of their old photos. I see and compliment his wedding photos that are still around the house. I am well aware and have made peace with as much as I can given the current situation. Has anyone else ever dealt with this? Do I keep my mouth shut and just file it away in the petty folder? Thanks immensely.